The email landed in my inbox like a grenade with the pin pulled. Notice of lease agreement 1423 Maple Drive. My house. My home. I was 7,000 miles away, stationed in a dusty outpost in Kandahar, sweat soaking through my fatigues, and some HOA busybody had rented out my house without my consent. My name is Lieutenant Marcus Reed, and I'd left my home in the hands of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, thinking they'd keep an eye on it during my year-long deployment. Instead, Karen Whitaker, the HOA president, had turned my sanctuary into her personal cash cow. I reread the email, my hands shaking over the laptop in the mess hall. The lease was signed by Karen herself, claiming she had power of attorney to act on my behalf. Power of attorney? I'd never even met the woman. My neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, had tipped off my sister back home, who forwarded me the email. Strangers were living in my house, sleeping in my bed, using my late wife's dishes. The betrayal burned hotter than the Afghan sun. I trusted the HOA to protect my property, but Karen had exploited my absence, spinning lies to line her pockets. Back in Willow Creek, the truth unraveled like a poorly stitched wound. My sister, Lena, drove to the neighborhood to investigate. She found my house transformed, new curtains, a stranger's car in the driveway, and a for rent sign still staked in the lawn. Lena confronted Karen at the HOA office, a sleek glass building that screamed self-important bureaucracy. Karen, dripping in a fur coat and dripping with condescension, waved off Lena's questions. Marcus abandoned the property, she said, her voice sharp as a blade. We're maintaining community standards. Lena recorded the exchange, Karen's smug smirk caught on video as she claimed I'd verbally agreed to let her lease the house. A lie so bold it could have been court-martialed. Lena dug deeper, contacting my lawyer, who confirmed I'd never signed any agreement. Karen had forged documents, citing a vague HOA clause about property management in absentia. She'd pocketed $2,500 a month in rent while I was dodging IEDs. The tenants, a young couple, had no idea they were pawns in her scheme. They'd paid Karen directly, unaware I owned the house. The audacity was staggering. Karen had weaponized her position to exploit a soldier's absence. But she didn't know who she was messing with. My unit, the 82nd Airborne, doesn't take kindly to theft, especially not from one of their own. The confrontation came fast and hard, like a well-executed raid. I was granted emergency leave, and my squad brothers who'd saved my life more times than I could count volunteered to come with me. We landed in Virginia, jet-lagged but fueled by righteous anger. Lena had rallied neighbors, who were furious at Karen's overreach. Mrs. Jenkins, a retired librarian with a spine of steel, revealed a twist that turned the tide. Karen had done this before. Years ago, she'd managed another soldier's property, strong-arming a widow into selling her home below market value. Mrs. Jenkins had kept emails from that scandal, proof of Karen's pattern of predation. Armed with this, we marched to the HOA office. The scene was chaos. Neighbors gathered, phones recording as Karen stood on the steps, her designer heels clicking like a metronome of guilt. "This is harassment," she shrieked, clutching her pearls. I held up the forged lease, my voice steady but loud enough for the crowd. "You stole my home, Karen. You forged my name. You profited off my service." My squad flanked me, their presence a silent warning. The tenants, now standing in the crowd, looked horrified, realizing they'd been duped. Karen tried to spin it, claiming she was protecting the neighborhood's value. But Mrs. Jenkins stepped forward, her frail frame belying her fire, and read aloud Karen's old emails damning evidence of her earlier scam. The crowd gasped. Karen's face drained of color, her smug facade cracking like cheap porcelain. Then came a knockout blow. My lawyer, who'd flown in from D.C., served her with a cease and desist order and a lawsuit for fraud. The police were called, and Karen's attempt to flee was cut short when my squad sergeant, a 6 feet 4 inches wall of muscle named Torres, blocked her path with a single step. "Ma'am, you're not going anywhere," he said, his voice low and final. Karen's empire crumbled in real time. The HOA board, pressured by the growing crowd and viral videos of the confrontation, voted to remove her as president that night. The tenants vacated my house, apologizing profusely they were victims too, manipulated by Karen's lies. My lawyer filed charges for forgery and theft, and the police escorted Karen out of the HOA office, her designer bag dangling limply as she stammered excuses. The neighborhood watched, some cheering, others shaking their heads. Mrs. Jenkins hugged me, whispering, "Welcome home, Marcus." My squad clapped me on the back, their grins wide. We'd reclaimed my home, not with bullets, but with truth and unity. Standing in my reclaimed living room, I felt the weight of the past year lift. The walls still held memories of my wife, now safe from Karen's greed. The HOA rewrote its bylaws, ensuring no one could exploit deployed soldiers again. Lena and Mrs. Jenkins started a neighborhood watch to keep the board accountable. My unit returned to base, but not before we shared a beer on my porch, toasting to justice served. Karen faced court dates and a ruined reputation. Her fall a stark reminder. No one steals from a soldier and walks away unscathed. This wasn't just about my house site, it was about trust, betrayal, and fighting for what's right. What would you do if someone exploited your absence? Share your thoughts. Where do you draw the line between right and wrong?